Yo, my people, welcome to comfycozynaoetry. Today I'm going to be going over everything related to selling my crochet plushies, like these cuties, and this guy too, in a physical shop. I'm currently a vendor at Painterly Boutique Sunset Valley in Austin, Texas. And if you've ever considered selling your items in a physical shop or even doing like markets or something like that, then this video may be helpful for you. I'm going to be going over the experience so far, the money and financial side of things, and then end the video off on like whether I recommend it and like my overall feelings toward it all. So first of all, the experience. My shop is specifically in a Painterly boutique, and those are all over the country, so they have a bit of, you know, precedence. But my shop opened in April, and I opened my shop at the opening of the overall shop. And to be honest, overall my experience has been great. We do have a Facebook page for the vendors at our shop, and you know, there's some things that people complain about, including things like theft and, you know, not being listened to by the staff or the higher ups at Painterly boutiques. And I guess I should touch on some of those things. Like for me, when it comes to theft, I'm a little bit scared to talk about that because I'm like, I don't want anyone to see this and then be like, oh, she's afraid things are gonna get stolen, let's go steal some stuff, you know. But I think it's good to share this with other small businesses and such. But so far I haven't really had much of a problem with that, because there have been things where I notice that they're missing, but then oftentimes later they'll appear back. And I've checked like other stalls, I've checked the lost and found, and they weren't there, so I was afraid. But there's only one item that has happened to that I still haven't seen. It's been a while. It's something that I stocked up originally in my shop, and it's just been gone. I'm hoping it'll appear back, but if not, it's only the one item I think that's gone missing completely. And I don't know if I haven't had as much of a problem with it because my shop is more further back, tucked away, and it's probably harder to get to. Like if you're gonna go through the whole store, it's gonna take you a while to get there if you don't go directly in that direction first. So that could contribute to it. Maybe something to think about. Other than that, I think the only problem I've really had, which isn't really much of a problem, is I label all of my products with my booth number. I literally have it written H4 on every tag on every item. And there was one time where I saw that one of my items was put in the lost and found by the staff at the shop, and it's just frustrating because like it's literally labeled. Like if it's labeled, they're meant to put it back in that booth. And so that was a little bit frustrating to see, because that could have been an item that sold in the time that it was in the lost and found, you know. I hope I'm not forgetting anything, but those have really been my only problems, so to speak, I think. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. Let me know if there's anything specific you'd like me to touch on maybe in a future video, or I can reply to you in a comment about. But like I said, my overall experience has been really positive. I really enjoy going every week and restocking, and then I get to also like clean up my booth, because with plushies I think people are like looking at them and touching them a lot, and it kind of gets quite disheveled. And also I think the way mine is set up is you can't always see everything perfectly, so you kind of have to touch it to see it. And so every week I get to go put new items in, clean up the display, make it look all nice. And then it's just also so fun through the week when you do get sales to see them on the website, where you can both upload your new stock and then also see the activity as it's happening, whether you're getting sales or whatnot, because that's something different from selling online. Because for me, I not only literally crochet plushies, I also sell my patterns of crochet plushies. And when you're selling online, if it's a physical item, if you get a sale, then you have to package it and then send it off. But with a digital item like a crochet pattern, the sale just happens and then they have their item and you don't have to do anything. And it's kind of like that when you're selling your plushies in a store. You just go once, you drop them off, and then you see the sale when it happens and you don't have to do anything. And so that's kind of a nice plus of it. And something else that's really fun is just getting to interact with other vendors that are there, and also with the people in the shop, because a lot of times I'll go to restock and I'll see someone like looking at the items at my shop, or they'll come over while I'm in the middle of restocking and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, is this your shop? Like, it's so cute, I love it. And it's just the best. And so in a way it's nice, especially interacting with other vendors, because you don't feel so alone in it. Whereas if you're just selling in your online shop, you're just kind of doing your own thing. But here I get to interact with other people, hear their woes, give advice, get advice, that kind of thing. Now the money or financial side of things. So I am going to share like actual hard numbers, but I also want to just go over how I go about my money. Before I started selling in a physical shop, I was really bad about handling my money I made from any businesses that I have. But once I started selling in the shop, I realized like, okay, I think I need to get a handle on this. And so anytime now that I get a check or get any kind of payment from any business, not even just selling selling in this physical shop, I split my money in a certain way. So 25% for me goes to a savings account for taxes when I have to do my, what's it called? Self-employed taxes. And then another 25% I save for business expenses. So for me specifically, if I need to buy more yarn, more stuffing, more safety eyes, anything to do like content creation with for my business. And then 50% I keep for myself. And currently for me, that is saving up for a car and just being able to support myself. And for the taxes thing, I have heard that it's good to put aside 25 to 30% of your earnings for taxes. So that's why I do that. Just trying to be smart in case this year I actually make enough where I actually have to pay any taxes. So far I haven't had that problem yet, but you never know. So just be careful. Okay, so now for the hard numbers. I've received checks so far for April, May, June, and July. And based on my experience, and especially from what I've heard from others, those are really hard months when it comes to retail. So keep that in mind when you hear these numbers, and I will try to explain things and why I think the numbers were what they were. But April, our very first month in the shop, was the best month so far. And I think that is because the shop was new, and so people were hearing about it and were checking it out and were shopping there. And also other vendors, I think, were shopping from other vendors more so. And then even the staff, because so many times I went into the shop to restock or something, someone would be like, oh, do you sell, the cute little mushroom guys or whatever? And then they tell me how they bought something from my shop. So I think that contributed to it a lot. And so for April, I made $850.96. And that's after my rent was taken out for that month. So I have, I think, the cheapest rent for a booth, an actual booth, because there's also kiosks and then shelves, bookshelves that are much cheaper. But my rent every month is $250. And then also in April, we got a little bit taken out of our rent. Like we didn't have to pay as much because it was 5 days short since the store opened on April 6th. So we didn't have the 1st through the 5th to worry about. So April so far has been the best month by far. Keep that in mind. And then we have May. And in May, I made $312.05 after rent was taken out again. So a significant drop. And of course, if you are someone who's like new to selling anything, especially in person, like that can be kind of disheartening to go from, $850 to $312. But if you're aware that certain months are not as good and that, maybe the first month was good because, everything was new and whatnot, that can be helpful to not feel so bad about it. And honestly, I'm just so grateful every month when I'm able to at least make rent, because that can be scary, especially when you are relying on the money you make to help run the business, So that also is a consideration. Like if you might think you might not really sell too much and you don't have the money to like actually pay the rent or pay whatever fees there are for how you're selling your items, then maybe think twice about it, Because personally, I'd be in a hard spot if I didn't make rent with my sales every month. And thankfully, so far, I haven't had to worry about that. So then in June, I actually made a little bit more than May, which I was so grateful for. I made $445.70. Don't really have much to add there. I think same thing, it's in the harder months, so didn't make all that much. Not sure why I made more than May. Who knows? And then finally, July was my worst month yet. So far, I feel like August is catching up to beat that, meaning August might be the slowest month. But in July, I made $195.50. I think July was going so slow that I was worried I wasn't even going to make that much. So I'm glad I did make that much. But again, can be very disheartening. But if you know that the J months are meant to be really bad, then hopefully that helps you not get too down about it, So although I said this was going to be about the first 4 months, I figured I might as well inform you on how August is going so far, my 5th month. So like I've said, August has been, I think, my slowest month so far. We'll see how it ends, but I'm currently recording this on August 14th and it's a Wednesday. I think it was only Saturday or Sunday that I finally hit rent money. I hit $250 and I'm now at $302.40. So meaning if I were to get my paycheck right now, I'd only make $52.40 because that's how much over $250 I've made. But truly, when I look at that, we're about to be halfway through the month and including rent, I've made $302.40. If that doubles, then I will be making over $300. So that could be good if I look at it that way. But we'll see, because they do say fall is the best time for businesses, I think, especially with like Christmas coming up and people buying presents. It makes sense. So in a few more months, I'll probably try to inform you on how that's going. But just a tip when it comes to all of this is it is important to be marketing yourself in some way. For me, me, I had a crochet Instagram account already before I even considered doing this or even knew about it. And so now I've just incorporated making reels and posts that are related to my shop as well, and making sure that I make it known that this is in Austin, Texas, so that hopefully people in Austin see that and might go and buy products. Although I also think it's probably good and easier for me to have something that kind of sells itself, because like I said, every time I go into the shop, people are always commenting on how cute my shop is, and I feel like if you see it, you're gonna be drawn in, you know? Like, how can you not be drawn into such adorable plushies, you know? And even if your products aren't eye-grabbing or eye-catching themselves, like, I think there's still ways to make it attractive. That's my little tip from someone who doesn't really know much about selling anything. Finally, would I recommend this? And my overall takeaway from all of this: if you're someone who wants to sell something or makes things to sell or whatever the case may be, you really have, I guess I should speak from my experience, I really have like 3 solid ways that I could sell my physical items that I can think of. And that's, you know, selling online, like on Etsy or something, being a vendor at a shop like Attributions Boutiques, or being a vendor at like markets, whether that's farmers markets, craft markets, etc. I first started selling my plushies online on Etsy, and I sold a few, but not very many. And even to this day, now that I only sell my digital patterns online, I have under 40 sales on my Etsy. So that just shows you I didn't sell very many plushies on there, even though it wasn't that long that I was doing it for. And then this year I wanted to do markets, but then I heard about the painted tree and then I went with that option. And so I think if you don't have a huge audience built up that knows about your plushies online, or if you aren't necessarily the best or well adept at like digital marketing and like bringing traffic to your site, then selling online may not be the best route, or it could be to start off, you know, and then over time you learn and grow. It could be that I just didn't give myself enough time to learn and grow. But I think if you fit into what I described, then selling in person is probably a really good route. And whether that's markets or being a vendor in a shop is up to you. I have a feeling personally that maybe doing vendor markets might be a better route, especially if you're like me and you rely on the income your business makes to then do more things with your business. Because people have suggested that I still also do markets, but really at this point I can't do that because so much of what I make goes into like paying the rent. Like, I don't see that money at all. And then I'd have to use that 25% of each check to pay towards doing a market. But I need that money to actually buy more yarn and buy more materials to make my product. So I don't have the money left over then to do a market. You know what I mean? But from what I've seen from others who do markets, it seems like they are able to make a lot more, because these 4 months that I've been doing it are market season, it seems like. And it seems like they make more net, even just at one market, than I have in like 1 month at Painted Tree. But like I said, with the experience of it, like I have really enjoyed the experience. It's a unique thing to be able to just like, you know, make all the stuff. And then like for me, at least once a week, I get to go and then restock. And then I don't have to physically be there to sell the item, and also don't have to be in the heat in the summer to sell the item. And as someone who's introverted and sometimes socially anxious, like I don't have to talk to people, although that's not much of a problem for me as much anymore. But if that's a problem for you, that is a perk of selling in a physical shop instead of a market. So overall, I would recommend it. But if it were up to me, like I think maybe it would have been better for me to actually do markets versus selling in a shop. And I think overall, for me personally, my ideal would be to sell online, because something that I've missed selling in person is actually being able to package my order and send it off. And then also feeling a little bit more personally connected to the people who are buying my plushies, because I get to like write them a little note and I get to literally be like, okay, this is what they ordered. Or if it's made to order, I get to be like, okay, now I get to start making this order that this person ordered, you know, versus I'm just making stuff, putting in my shop and hoping that someone buys it, and then they may not even know who I am or pay attention to my shop name or anything, you know? And I think something that's good about selling in person is that if you're, you know, marketing that and like also making content from that, that can help you also build an audience that then would purchase from you online. And I'm starting to see that a little bit. I did get one custom order recently, and literally just this morning I thought about putting some of like my own patterns up as physical plushies on my Etsy. So I may go into that, and just like some of the items that I really enjoy making, I might do that again, put that on my Etsy and put it as made to order, because I do know that there's people who see my short form content and then they go to my shop and they don't see any plushies, then they're like, what the heck? So I'm hoping that if I do that, then, you know, I may get more sales online. Who knows? I think these are all things to consider. And I think at the end of the day, the choice is up to you. But I hope you found this video helpful in some way or informative if you don't even have a business and maybe one day you're thinking about doing it. I really would recommend to almost anybody to start a small business. I feel like there's so much you learn and so much you get to experience that you don't get to experience if you don't ever do that. And it's such a hard journey, but it's so worthwhile. So worthwhile. Let me tell you. Alrighty, y'all. I love you so much and I will see you next time. Bye. Mwah.